G'day viewers, Jeff from McPhee's Gardening, Melbourne, Australia. Today's title or our description of our video today is about the types of business that we'd like to run. I've had a few emails of people asking me what type of business do I prefer. Now, as I've mentioned before, your business is your business, so everybody is different. We've all got different stages of our lives, whether we're starting out, have mortgages, have children to raise, or whether we're well financially established, or whether we've left a previous job and still receiving a little bit of annuity from that previous job and just topping up with a nice little gardening round, or whether we want to grow to a successful entrepreneurial business. One good thing about this gardening business, we can achieve all of those things if we want to. As I said, everybody's different. It's what you want to do. Now, there's several categories, I guess. There's a sole trader, there's the business where you employ 1, 2, 3 employers or more. There's business that will employ enough employees that you can work off the tools, and your role is to work on the business, not in it. And of course you can use a business of using subcontractors or a partnership with someone else. So they are the different areas that you could have a look at. Now, personally, I've always ran a sole trader business. I have tried employees and subcontracts before, but really I do prefer the sole trader. Why? Because I've got control of my own destiny. I started as a sole trader in my early days, young family, mortgages, and we've managed to get through all that over the years. But the advantages of a sole trader to me were the fact that I can work when I wanted to work. I could work through lunchtime. I didn't have to take a meal break, or I could take a cup of coffee if I wanted to take a break. I decided what hours I wanted to start, if I wanted to start really early or late, work till late at night, or knock off early. I didn't have to worry about anybody else, and all I had to do is worry about is putting food on my table, not someone else's table as well. So they are the advantages of the sole trader. Of course, the disadvantages, you can only grow to a certain point. You can achieve a certain amount of turnover. You've only got so many hours in the week, so many hours in a day, so many days in a week. Now, even you condense your round and you've got it perfect. The only way you can increase your revenue, of course, is raising your prices, but of course you can only do that once a year or every second year. So you're really stuck to is how many hours and how many jobs you can do for the time during that week. So, and most of us, we're happy with only working 5 days a week, 6 to 8 hours a day. That's quite fine. We don't have to, we don't want to achieve multi-dollar turnovers. We're quite happy with what we're getting. And if that's for you, that is fantastic. It is for me. I've enjoyed that type of life. But if you want to grow, you can. Now, the other disadvantage of being just on your own, of course, is if you want to take a big job on, you look at it and you say, it's too big, I can't do it on my own. Or you might be inundated with bad weather and you're trying to catch up and you need help to help you. There is ways of getting some people to help you out, other contractors, and etc. But really, you're really stuck on your own. And it gets a bit lonely, I guess. You're virtually talking to yourself, or you're listening to podcasts or radio or music throughout the day. And for some of us, like me, I quite enjoy that, but others like the company of other people. So there is that sort of thing to have a look at. Now, of course, the other one is employment. You want to employ a staff member. You might start off with one, and you'll train him up, and you'll expect him to be like you. He's going to be a clone of you, which never happens, of course. Everybody's different. He'll only work till his 8 hours for the day. He works for the pay packet he gets, and after that he leaves. He does not care what happens, as long as he gets his money and he does his day's work. So there's a few tricks having employees, is to make them be part of the business, to make them feel or give them responsibility. Don't use them. I see a lot of contractors use the employees as a extension of their equipment. In other words, they treat them like a mower or a whippersnapper. just an extra hand, or go and do this particular task. It's like using your mower or your whippersnapper. Now, you really got to be careful. You really got to, if you want to keep this employee, you've got to charge them up the responsibility to make them feel part of the business, and as they get better, obviously they'll be paid more. Now, of course, you can increase the number of employees and then build up to a stage where you've got several vehicles on the road, and you can get to a stage where you're working off the tools. So you're really just going around getting quotes and organising your staff for the week, and keeping the ship steady. So that's a nice little thing. But a disadvantage of employees, of course, is working, getting the guys that will suit your model, will suit your work requirements. You've got to remember one thing of employees: when you work on your own, your profit you're taking for that hour's work is normally about 80%. Now, when you employ somebody, your employee, because of the overheads, because of and his wages, and the fact that you can't work him for 8 hours a day, yet you've got to pay him for 8 hours a day, you might only get 6 billable hours out of him for the day. So your profit margin for that employee may be as low as 20 to 30%. So by employing somebody doesn't mean to say you're doubling your turnover, but of course it's going to help you to grow. This is where the advantage of employees, it makes your business grow to a larger business and taking on more work and becoming more efficient and employing more staff, and that's where the advantages are, of course. The other disadvantages, well, they're not disadvantages. You've got to put a lot of time into the employee to train him, to get him up to a really good standard. And of course, happened to me is you get them up to a great standard, you've got them working really well, you've gifted them a lot of responsibility in the company, and they turn around and they'll say, well, I could go and do this myself, which they do, and good luck to them. You'd never stop them, but that's something to bear in mind. Of course, there are some people that are not suited for self-employment, and that's the type of person, if you can get into your workforce, would be fantastic. Now, the other one, of course, is using subcontract. I've used that over the years, which is handy, because the subcontractor, he's already got his tools, he's got his vehicles, he's got his insurances and his registration, and he's all set to go. Of course, with a subcontract, he is your subcontractor to do a particular task that you want him to do, whether mowing a lawn or landscaping or rejuvenating a garden bed. But the disadvantage, of course, is with that subcontractor, you can't tell him how to do the job. You can tell him what you want to do, what you want done, but you can't tell him techniques, what equipment to use, how to go about it, that because he is a business in himself. So he's providing you with the service like you're providing your customer with the service. Whereas an employee, of course, you can tell him exactly how to hold the whippersnapper, exactly the method that you want, the sequence that you want to do the work. So that's the two things you just got to bear in mind. But subcontractors, of course, normally will be only inexperienced gardeners, because once they become established, they won't need your work. They'll have enough work on their own. So in their early stages, they'll be seeking to get as much income and experience. So they'll be looking forward to subcontracting their services out. And a lot of the time, and I've used them quite a few times, it is really a tremendous advantage, because you don't have to have them on your books. You can employ them when you want. With the employees, of course, we talked about the full-time employees. One of the smartest ways I've seen contractors do is employ part-time employees. A lot of people only like working 2 or 3 days a week. So if you can have 2 or 3 employees, part-time employees on your books, you then got the ability to cover a lot of work, and even if the situation where one person's not available, you then have someone else up your sleeve. Of course, then you can go to casual, where you just get them when you want them, and that works great too. But sometimes when things get busy, the season gets busy, another contract's probably got him because you haven't got enough work for him at the time, and then all of a sudden you've got a lot of work, you need him, and he's not available. So there's advantages, disadvantages there. The other one, of course, is a partnership. You might have a partnership where you might go in with a friend or a mate or a brother or a family member, or someone off the street. Partnerships are great. You're sharing the expenses, you're sharing the knowledge, of course, you're sharing the profits. You have 50% say in the business, whereas you as a sole trader or employing people, you've got the full say of the business. So it has its advantages, its disadvantages. But I've seen partnerships grow into large companies, successful companies, because of the knowledge that both bring on board. So there are, twos and ways from that one too. So, and that's about the number of businesses that I can see that you could have a look at. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe, it's much appreciated. We're slowly getting our subscribers up, but it was just a subject that was asked my opinion about, and I know everyone will have a lot of different ways to go about it. Be interested to hear your thoughts on it, but it's something when you're starting out that you're going to be out there and you're going to just get as much work as you can and get as much experience as you can, but at the same time you need to probably think about which direction you want to go. Of course, you can always change. You can be a sole trader for many years, and then at the end you can then employ people or use subcontractor, etc. So this particular business, and I must say a professional approach to this business, run a professional business, you can do anything. You can go anywhere. You can be the part-timer, or you can be the true entrepreneurial successful businessman. So we're very lucky to be in this field, and a lot of people say there's nothing professional about our work. Well, they are wrong. We are running a business and we are showing that we are professional. Same as the guy that runs his fish and chip shop, or whether he runs his cleaning dustbins or window cleaners. They all run businesses and they do it professionally, and they all succeed when they have that attitude. All right, guys and girls, that's my take for the time, and we'll see you on the next video. And again, please subscribe. Bye.